And it's that.
Um, do you want to meet at the
Good.
Phoenix Park?
Uh, Short. Okay, hi. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Hi. This is a scene for Darkness in Dublin, the Mage venue. In this scene, we're gonna open up to Lottie leaving her chantry and strolling around out of Phoenix Park to go look, to go to work, basically. And there she'll bump into someone. Yay!
Edward is
But
kind of sitting at the park, tossing gold coins into a fountain, talking in a weird language.
Okay, I have to put on. Are you actually throwing legitimate gold coins into the fountain?
They're like little tokens.
Okay.
wait, so he's tossing coins into a fountain and he's speaking?
Well, through my phone,
Or
but you can't really make out what it says.
okay, okay. Lottie will pass by and stop, raise an eyebrow. Uh, hey,
I turn
look at
around
the
with a shocked expression.
chatter. Lottie will wave. Hey, wait, I know you. You're Edward. Hey, dude. How goes it?
He kind of has like
Wait,
this.
stupid question. You can't
Mhm.
even tell me.
No, you can't. He just kind of waves with a kind of surprised smile on his face and then types something vigorously on his phone. And his phone, in a Stephen Hawking S version of his own voice, says, "Oh, hey, Lottie, how are you?"
I'm good. I'm heading off to work. Uh, do you live in the area? Because I've never really seen you beforehand.
He nods his head.
Okay, well, I'm heading off to work. Do you, are you leaving or coming or going?
He'll nod and type on his phone. Sure, I'll follow.
Um, okay. I mean, I'm just gonna head a bakery beforehand. So she'll make her way out of Phoenix Park with him, going towards her favorite bakery. I know her by name. As usual, there are apple turnovers waiting for her. She will happily get five, pay for them, and look at him. So, Edward, have you made any decisions? Have you talked to the Hermetics? Well, not talked to the Hermetics, but like, have you communicated with anybody else?
He nods his head.
Okay. I think for your luck, you might want to stay away from the Akashics. Just because I feel like Kitsune, yeah, terrible ideas were had.
He nods his head again, but with a little bit lower head hang.
Seriously, like, deals? Really? Shady people? Like, not me, not literally shady, but like, people you don't really know. It's kind of weird to make deals randomly with people you just met, especially when they want a guarantee on a return. It's a scam. Like, you like lived with outside people, my dude?
She hears from his phone. Well, I was kind of in a hurry to get some information for some other source, and I kind of got overwhelmed by desire, I guess you could say, wanting to find that missing piece. So when you offered some information or a dream, I kind of fell for it. I'm stupid.
Dreams aren't information. I mean, they can be interpreted as such, but the interpretation is vague at best. Like, if you want info, libraries are the best place to go. Listen, I don't know what you're getting yourself into. I, yeah, don't really know what's gonna happen with your when she'll tap her throat. But something will fix up, hopefully.
He just smiles.
really don't think you understand the gravity of the situation, but if you're cool with it, dude. Listen, if you want information,
oh,
I work in the library. I can probably ask my boss to poke around, see if we have anything on the books, or is it more current?
he taps on his phone. It's more current.
Mm, well, I don't know, maybe I can't help you. I don't really know what kind of information you were looking for, but
He,
regardless, maybe keeping away from the caches, just in case. They're like spirits. Or just smile and nod. Next time you see one, just in case.
he smiles and nods. On their walk, he just kind of pulls out his pipe and uses like a relaxing herb. Just kind of chills out.
I don't know, maybe we have something current. Alright, I'm gonna take you with me to work, and I'll talk to my boss and see if he knows anything. He's a pretty good mover and shaker.
He smiles and nods.
Kid. And they'll slowly make their way from Phoenix Park to literally the other side of Dublin to a very interesting bar. Nice bar. Great bar. Evan, why don't you tell us about the bar? Because I can't remember the fucking name. Evan, what's the name of the bar?
Called McShannigan's. It's like the most Irish of Irish pubs.
Yes, this is the bar. So they make their way shenanigans. She waves to the bartender as usual. The bartender's interesting. That's all I can really say.
You hear a voice from his phone that says bourbon, question mark.
What age is your character?
24.
Okay. The bartender will kind of raise an eyebrow at the being talked to through a phone, but will shrug and serve you bourbon.
He smiles and just kind of like points to his throat and opens his mouth, trying to signal can't speak.
Lottie will hand over an apple turnover to the bartender and then make her way towards the back. And she'll kind of gesture for Edward to join her by a very nice picture of a door.
He does.
Now, Edward, question, kid. You got anything offensive on you? Like brass knuckles, or like a bat, or a shiv? I don't know. Something of the like.
He shakes his head.
Alrighty then. And with that, she'll walk on through the picture.
There's actually a very specific notch in the picture frame you have to press, but yes. You know which it is, don't worry about it. Okay. The portrait of the door will shimmer and appear almost liquid-like for a few moments. It'll feel like you're walking under a waterfall as you press yourself through it. However, when you come through the other side, you're entirely bone dry, and a much larger physical door, the same as the one pictured in the image, stands before you. It's the only thing in what appears to be a vast dark space with no light save for the almost like the spotlight that shines upon the door.
He just kind of looks around in wonder.
It does get a very, well, it's a cool way to travel. Wait till you go inside though. And so that she'll like open up the door to let him in.
He
Do
doesn't
you
expect
have a
it.
library card?
What's that?
I'm, I'm guessing you've never been here before, right?
No.
Well, then, welcome to the Library of Dublin. Just
You
open
walk
the door
through.
to let him in.
What does he see?
Okie dokie. In front of you, you see a huge room, an expanse that spreads out longer than any football field that you could ever contemplate. It goes in literal miles in every direction, a sea of bookcases that spreads out beneath you as you stand on a stairway that curves down in between the shelves proper. Three huge stained glass windows stand at the other end of the room, casting light down through their multi-hued excuse me, through their multi-hued window panes, cascading, creating a dancing spectrum of light and shadow in multiple colors. The room smells of books and parchment, of dust and of memories. It is a vast and truly magical place.
He looks around in various wonder and excitement as he kind of eyes for a section that may be looking like poetry.
You will
Yep.
hear the
Sorry.
clinking of glass as a tiny entity about 2 feet tall raises itself up from where it was hunkered down next to the door, and he says, "Excuse me, sir. May I see your library card?"
He kind of has a very shocked look at his face as he didn't expect that, and he just pulls out his pockets and raises his arms up like I have no idea.
Oh, Flavio kind of cut in. Hi, Doesn't. He's with me. Sorry. Continuing to ask Siren some questions.
Oh, the master is in his office. I hope you have a pleasant day, Mistress Lottie.
And she'll smile. Is he in his office or in one of the sections?
He is in his office currently.
Um, has he tried to make anything recently?
I am unaware of this information.
Mm-hmm. Come on, let's hurry up. And with that, Lottie kind of drag Edward through the winding turns towards Siren's office, where she will triumphantly open the door, be like, aha! Look around for evidence of Siren trying to make tea. And that she hopes to never see it again. Just looks around. Mm-hmm. Hello, Siren.
He has not attempted to make anything. You will see him
Boy.
seated. He is still seated in a wheelchair behind his desk. He has glasses on over his face, and you'll see he's using magic to turn the pages of a book that he's reading. So every now and again, you'll just see his eyes flick, the page will turn. But he will look up, and he will say, "Ah, you've brought company, Miss Lottie."
Yeah, Master Siren, this is Edward. Edward, Master Siren. Edward's new in town, if you know what I mean.
I see. It is very nice to meet you, Mr. Edward.
He kind of does like a bow with his head and just kind of smiles.
Edward, can't really talk as much right now. Sour deals, if you know what I mean. But I can write if you want, Edward. I've got some paper if you want to write.
He'll smile and nod as he agrees.
So go over to the corner of the office and get some paper for him while you talk.
What is it that I can do for you, Mr. Edward? For the record, as you look at him, he's almost unearthly beautiful as you look at him. His face is perfectly chiseled, and his skin is as pale as milk. He has his appearance specialty in angelic. However, you will notice the fact that he's incredibly thin, almost skeletally so. When you look at how his robes cling to his body. Also, you'll see the fact that his arms are covered in blood-stained bandages, to the point
Ooh.
that his hands hang pretty limply at his sides.
Mm. First, he writes down the paper, "Are you okay?" with a question mark. With like a semi-concerned face.
You'll see him contemplate, and he'll say, "Yes, no, maybe. I'm alive, and I'm not. It is just these maladies will take time to heal."
He nods his head.
Vladio kind of just depends. Blah, blah. So spread out the apple turnovers, 2 on Siren's plate, 2 on hers. She knows he won't finish them, but she hopes he'll at least eat something. And she'll get some cookies out for Edward. Gee.
He smiles.
Master Siren, Edward was looking up information on something. I know we're not super current events, but do we have anything in the new annals that I haven't looked through that might help him?
On the what, sorry? Out of character, I didn't hear you.
On the newer sections that might help him.
That depends what it is he's looking for.
He writes down on a piece of paper, "I'm trying to meet my mother."
Why?
Then he puts down the piece of paper, "Why wouldn't someone want to meet their birth parent?"
Siren, you hear the electric motor of the wheelchair as he kind of comes out from behind his desk, and he'll look at you and he'll say, "You really don't understand how that works, do you?"
He
He's
shakes
not
his head.
angry, he's not judgmental. He'll say, "Please sit down, Mr. Edward."
He does.
So, when a parent gives a child up, they do so in the fervent hope that that child will have a better life than the life that they themselves can give them. However, that is the hardest decision that anyone need ever bear in this life, giving up a piece of themselves. It is literally as if something is torn away from them, and those wounds do not heal. So attempting to barge your way back into the life of someone who long ago may have found some peace or solace in the fact that they made this decision is never a positive step forward.
He looks as if he's contemplating that, with a little bit of a sad look on his face. Then he kind of writes down on a piece of paper, "Would you suggest any... I mean, what would you suggest in this situation?"
You see him lean back in his chair. I would recommend finding a path to walk that is not the path of the past, The past has already happened. It is immutable fact. I'm somewhat of an expert as it comes to the past, the present, and the future. But I would find a new path to walk. A path that does not lead backwards, but rather leads you forwards.
He kind of just stops and thinks for a second. Then writes down on a piece of paper. So, like, finding where I belong in this new world.
So finding what, sorry?
So, finding where I belong in this new world.
The world is not new. Merely your perception of it is. Once you walked the world sleeping, now you are awake. For example, he'll denote Lottie. I found Lottie here when she awoke to this world, and I made sure that she was safe, because that was my duty. And since then, I have helped her walk the path that it is that she is walking, and I'm very proud of her because of it.
Edward just kind of looks up at Lottie.
She's got like a really bright smile and a little sniffing. Just be like, it's just mascara. Stop looking. Look away, Saren. Just like dabbing at the eyes. It's just my eyeliner running. Shut up. Difficult sometimes, but once you find your niche and you really find what you need to do, it gets better. Not easier, but it just gets better. There's nothing about this that gets easier.
He kind of writes down on a piece of paper and then, like, lifts up towards Lottie. And it says, like, so, like, joining a tradition. That would make it easier, not better.
No, like I said, nothing about this gets easier. It never gets easier.
He just
Better?
read his head, oh.
Better, maybe. If you find people that you connect to, people who share your views, who'll help you with your goals, then yeah, it really does get better. But you got to make sure that's exactly what you want. I mean, like I said, how Siren found me, I was killing my party. Literally killing my party. It wasn't fun dealing with that kind of emotional backlash. Just knowledge that when I had power, I deemed to order my partygoers to dance till they died. And it was just not fun. But he helped. And I've got Eliza, and I had other people, and I'm growing. You just have to find what fits you.
He sits there and it looks like he's doodling something on his paper for a little bit. And then after, say, about good 2 minutes, he lifts it back up to you, and it just looks like 3 dots, and then 2 fingers like pointed toward each other, like kind of, eh. And it says, "So, I mean, I wanted to join your tradition, but I'm afraid that you think badly of me after recent events."
It doesn't work that way, hon. The way, even if I think well or ill of you, I have neither views. I think you're just new and you're still learning. My one thing is, I'm not sure if we'd fit you. You spoke to me about your passion, and your passion being silence. I don't know how that would work.
The passion of the cult, or the ecstatics as we call ourselves, is, well, the fact that All is an illusion. We merely see through the illusion, through dance, through music, through altering our perceptions of the world. We see through the illusion. Silence is entropy. Silence is death. Music is life. Sound is life. I don't I don't know you, but we are not we embrace the now because we understand the past, we understand the future. We have to have the
Have you?
music of the world. Oh, sorry, continue live.
No. She'll wait until after he's done. Edward, have you met Sam yet? Samara, she's the head of the Thanatos.
I shake my head no, but then I look over towards it's Silas, right?
Siren.
Siren, thank you. I look over to him with kind of like a big smile on my face as I shake my head, and I write down the piece of paper. It basically says, I see what you're saying. My goal is to break through the illusion of silence. It's more of a metaphor than an actual physical want. I read a lot of poetry, so it's more of a reference to the blanket state of life. If you break through the illusion of silence, that means you have officially awakened your senses to what is actual.
You are free to believe that if you choose to. I'm not here to tell you what to believe.
We only offer options. If this is what you want, then okay. But learning about the others, meeting the other heads, may also be beneficial to you.
He smiles as he counts like 2 or 3 fingers, like on his actual fingers, and he raises up 3, saying that he's met roughly 3.
Kind of do a little frowny face.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a
you've
little
met
bit of a front face.
You've met me, and I'm the technical head, acting head of the Ecstatics. You've met Kelly and Morgan, who are the dual heads of the Verbena. There's Sam, who you haven't met. She's the head of the Thanatos. There's Eliza, who's the head of Etherites. There's Saisho, who you almost met, and I hope you never do. Just further warning, maybe stay away from the Akashics.
The
After
Ebon
what
Dragon
happened.
is a complicated individual.
He's yes. You're also like banned from the Temple of 10,000 Pleasures, I think it's called. Yeah, well, you're banned from the temple, so you probably won't be able to meet him either way. And if you do, just stay silent. Try
He
to
looks
hide.
up at He looks
Next to your right.
up at Lottie and he holds up 6 fingers this time and smiles as he didn't recognize that a few of those were actual heads that he's met.
I find that in the presence of the Ebon Dragon, unless you're able to match him might for might, it is better to stay silent and bow.
Mm-hmm.
He shakes his head at Siren as he actually already met him.
That did not go well for you, kid. Remember that. Remember consequences to actions. There are so many consequences to actions. Please remember the consequences to actions.
I would argue, apprentice, that in the event he met the Ebon Dragon face to face and had a faux pas, and he is still standing here alive, that it was the best possible result.
I was holding him down and covering his mouth so he wouldn't spew vulgarities in his face while Kitsune was holding control of his voice.
Ah.
Edward kind of looks up at Lottie and shakes his head no, and then kind of move and writes on the paper and shows it up to Lottie. No, I've met him another time.
Well, if that's how you want to go with it. Listen, if you want to interact with Sideshow, by all means, I'd just be smart about it.
Edward kind of sighs as if he doesn't think that she understands.
Okay. Who am I missing? I'm missing someone else, I think.
He writes on a piece of paper, Gravedigger.
Gravedigger, yes.
Gravedigger is
She
not
would
the
be
head of
like
a Gravedigger
He's
is not the head
the
of a tradition.
he's kind of he's not the head, but he's like the go-to of the not traditions, I guess you
He
could
is
say.
the voice of the representatives of the Disparate Alliance.
Yeah, voice is good. I always kind of figured it was the go-to because if something's moving and shaking, he's often the one shaking the tree.
That is valid. Mr. Gravedigger tends to have his finger on the pulse.
And in all the pies.
There is Magister Croshaw of the Order of Hermes, but he only tends to come out for official functions.
Mm-hmm.
He's much more of a scholarly academic than Magister Denofrier, who is much more verbal.
Denofrier is baller. If you ever meet Denofrier, she's great.
Just
He
don't
smiles
get
and
on
nods
her
his head.
bad.
Sorry, Evan, what'd you say?
Just don't get on her bad side.
Oh, no, definitely don't, because... like
Edward smiles and nods his head at Lottie.
And then, of
She's
course,
my
there
favorite
is
hermetic.
From what you've said about the other hermetics, I'm not exactly surprised.
Favorite.
And then there is, of course, though he is not currently here, my father, the Archbishop de Calvornay, who is the Archmagi of the Celestial Chorus.
Is he coming back to the city, or...?
The short answer, yes. Long answer, yes.
Alright.
He has spoken to me recently. He will be returning more than likely before the month is out. He merely needed to gather what support he could before it is that he must enter the conflict with the Canticles of Lamentation.
Drop like a dark look and nod. Very solemn nod. Mm-hmm.
Particularly now that they have deployed their greatest weapon here in the city in the form of Master Isaac, the Seated Prime, who I'm led to understand is responsible for the death of a Archmaster of the Akashiana in the form of the Silver-Voiced Nightingale.
And do like a pentagram sign over her heart. Yep.
I'll be back in just a few
Psycho.
minutes, guys. I just need to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
Thank you, Evan. Psycho basically is the nice way of putting it.
I see.
But yeah, there are different bits and pieces. We only stress looking at the other traditions before you make a choice, or even like the disparates, so that you're fully aware of what goes on. Getting caught unawares is never fun.
Edward puts like a finger on his cheek and like tilts his head and then shows her a piece of paper that says, I've met a lot of them. We'll just say that I only have like 2 or 3 choices left.
Okay. Wait, choices up. Did you piss them off or something? Someone else stab you?
He he smiles in kind of like a laughing manner, but no noise comes out. And he writes on a piece of paper. It's more like I've pissed off maybe 2 or 3 of them, and then 1 or 2 of them agreed with the other 2 or 3 of them. So that knocked out a few. But then there's just 2 of them who I just don't agree with at all, and I just don't feel like I'd be a fit.
Well, that's vague and yet not. All right, dude. Maybe be more aware in the future. We're sneaky folk. Might think all is well and dandy, but then you like turn on your toaster and it starts attacking you.
He smiles faintly and then writes on a piece of paper. What drew me to your tradition a lot more was the basis of the illusion, and that's more or less my mindset about a lot of the magic in the area. I feel like it's more of a match considering.
Well, I'm glad that you found something that fits you. And if that's what you want to do, then that's your choice to make, and yeah.
He smiles and writes down on a piece of paper and then bows his head down as he like shows it up to you, and it basically says, "So will you accept me?" And then yeah, he's obviously like bowing kind of.
I don't think there's a need for some bowing. I think you're fine. I'll talk to Siren and we'll see what we can do for you. Like I said, I'm acting head only because, well, Siren's not in his best health, and the person that was declared head after him is no longer with us.
He kind of writes on a piece of paper. So you explained to me a little bit of that in our previous talk, but what exactly made him like that?
Siren, or
Yeah.
um, a bunch of things happened. Basically, the gist of the story is when you're in the spooky forbidden zone, always have a buddy, just in case. Buddy system is important for all things.
He
Hell, if we
smiles and
ever declare
agrees as he.
martial law, I'll enforce the buddy system. And the second thing, don't make deals with demons. Don't. That's some kind of our big rule here. Just don't. Because you
He
will die.
lifts up a piece of paper. Why would I be doing that?
Sometimes people make the wrong choices for the right reasons. But
He writes down another piece of paper. Like the Antichrist lady?
she'll get a dark look on her.
Do not mock the dead.
Edward, let's just put it as you don't make deals with demon, even though, for a good reason, it's not worth it. Because you will die.
He nods his head in
And
agreement.
I'm just gonna end it at that. We've
Oh, go ahead.
we've got plenty of books on ecstatics. If you want to look at them. Siren. He doesn't have a library card. Can we set it up with him?
Can you please take one out of my top drawer and just write his name on it, please?
All right.
He lifts up a paper towards Siren, and with a basically it says "mocking the dead" with a question mark.
To actively make fun of those who have passed from this life.
He writes down again, "Who passed?"
The so aptly called Antichrist lady. She was... It wasn't even her who was the... Again,
You guys
don't
like
make
a
deals with demons. You'll die.
he has like an oh question like look on his face. And he writes down, I only heard stories about her. I didn't know she actually died or anything. That's horrible.
Yes. Allow me to give you a piece of advice, my child. Do not speak about what you do not know. And do not speak upon what you do not understand.
He nods.
We'll just say this. The Antichrist lady was one of my best friends. She's no longer alive. Don't make deals with demons or you will die. Here, sign your name on the card.
He holds it in his hand and looks at it. What does he see?
It's just
Library
a
card.
it looks like a standard library card.
Oh. He writes his name down.
It laminates itself.
Eyes of shock and wonder.
Shiny.
Mhm.
And if you want to pop around and look through our sections on poetry, you just show that to the docents.
He does definitely shake his head.
By the way, okay, you seem to have this weird colloquialism you use. Shaking your head means no. Nodding your head means yes.
Oh,
Yeah, is
Sorry.
he saying no or yes? Sorry, I was just like,
yes.
wait.
Nodding his head. I get mixed up sometimes. That's my fault.
No worries. Siren will look up at Lottie and he'll say, however, we have much work to do today, so in that case, Mr. Edward, I will leave you in the capable hands of the docents. Should you require anything, I'm sure that they'll be able to help you.
Are we organizing the back section? Is that what
No,
we're doing
we have
today?
to do something far more intimidating. We have to start we have to start alphabetizing, starting with Zoro Zen Zeniblius.
Ah, they have like 26 volumes. Okay, fine. Fine. Stuffs the rest of her apple tart in her mouth. Let's go. Come on. Open the door for Siren and Edward. Like, we did so much already.
Boys and girls, we will end our scene. Thank you players for playing. Thank you watchers for watching. This has been another scene in Darkness in Dublin.